Right. Now I'm going to be absolutely, I'm going to be amazed if we have thousands of people watching this at this time of night. But you can, if you're not watching it at 32 minutes past 11, and 3 people are. So whoever those 3 people are, you get a blue Peter badge straight away. Do you know what it's? I wasn't going to do a live tonight. Well, I was going to do one, but I got really busy. I thought, well, I'm not doing it because I'm doing stuff for Tommy. There's, well, I can't say what it is, but I'm doing stuff in the background for Tommy. And I thought, well, look, what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump on. I'm going to have a little vent, a little rant, because I think everything's in place. This is why I'm getting a bit frustrated, right? And I'm not going to go into why. I'm not going to criticize anyone. I'm not going to attack anyone, but I'm frustrated not with the people who put all this stuff in place, because they're great. I mean, you look what Ben's done with Advance. You look at what Tommy's done with Unite the Kingdom. You look at what, let's be honest, what we've done with the pledge. All the tools are in the box. And what people need to do is go to the toolbox, get the tools out and start using them. We have the mechanisms now in place to win this country back. We really do. And we just need to make sure that we focus and we do it. And Unite the Kingdom, biggest patriotic march in British history. That's some achievement. That's some achievement, considering Tommy was in prison for 3 of the demonstrations. Was it 3? 2? Yeah, 2 of the demonstrations. Sorry, he's in prison for 2 of the demonstrations, at least maybe 3. And we still pulled it off, and we still did the biggest event in British history. So Unite the Kingdom, I think, is looking pretty healthy. All the stuff Tommy's doing, they seem on it. They're doing the videos. They're getting all the international stuff done, which is absolutely brilliant. So that's all working, right? Unite the Kingdom's working. The pledge is working. The pledge sits there statically. It is an ideology. We don't need to be bugging you guys that have signed up all the time. I can bug you more if you want, but we don't want to hassle people because everyone gets loads of emails anyway. But the pledge is there. That's the ideology of our movement. Ben Habib signed the pledge. That's why I backed Advance UK, because when I looked at what Advance UK were doing, it was exactly what the pledge would do if it was a political party. So then we've got Advance UK. And this is where I think the hard graft needs to start. And I am just a member of Advance UK. I don't hold any rank or whatever you want to call it. I'm not in the college. I'm not in any leadership position. But what I do know is that this has to be a grassroots movement. And in Northern Ireland, in Scotland, in Wales, in England, whatever our position is, we need to be out there promoting Advance and getting people to sign up and join Advance, because we have everything we need. We literally, I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he's a good lad, and he's in reform, and I'm not going to say his name. He's going to be helping me out with something pretty soon. Really, really good lad. And I've got other real good friends in reform, and they're going, well, we can't leave reform, because if we leave reform, we know they're going to win the election. I said, well, look, if all of you lot that are in reform that believe what we believe and not what Nigel and Zia and Richard Tice believe, who are basically just old school liberals, if you came across to Advance, then Advance would romp the election. But Ben Habib made a very, very good point, right? He made a very, very good point that if Advance UK get 1 million members before the next election, and all of those members are activists, or the majority of them are activists, and those activists start being active, right, then we will win the next election. It'll be a slam dunk. Same as with the pledge. I want to have 1 million people on the pledge, because as much as I love Advance UK, and I do, and I absolutely trust Ben, and I trust the other people that are in leadership in Advance UK. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't. But if anything ever went wrong with Advance UK, the ideology is still there because it's in the pledge. So I still maintain that we need 1 million people to sign the pledge, because that gives us an army of potentially, okay, there's going to be a lot of overlap, but probably 1.5 million people, when you take all the duplicates out, that would be activists and that could get on the streets. Because the only way that we're going to win this is through politics. I was talking to friends the other day about this. Everybody I talk to in Northern Ireland, we know what happens when politics goes wrong. We know what happens when violence takes over from the political process. And one of the main reasons I'm doing this is to save my country from a civil war. I'm sick of all the doom mongers. There's going to be a civil war. You don't know. You don't have a crystal ball, right? Nobody knows what's going to happen. We're not prophets or sons of prophets. Well, I'm not anyway. And I don't think a lot of the people that are talking about civil war are prophets or sons of prophets. We have one chance. We have one chance to do something absolutely amazing and incredible for our country. And it's not fighting. And I've said, you know, and I maintain this, if it kicked off in the country I live in and I had to defend my area, my family, my friends, I would do it without a shadow of a doubt. I wouldn't even think twice about it, right? But we're not at that stage, and we've got a chance to make sure we don't get to that stage. And that chance is Advance UK, Uniting the Kingdom, the Pledge, a Christian revival. A Christian revival is really, really important, because what Christianity does, if you look at the history of revivals, right the way from the well, I suppose right the way from the old Celtic Christians that came across and re-evangelized Europe. But if you look at the evangelical revivals from the Puritans onwards, from the Reformation onwards, what happened was, yes, there was a lot of, during the Reformation, there was a lot of horrendous warfare. It was awful. But when you look at the evangelical revivals and people like Wesley and Whitefield, Jonathan Edwards, the 59 revival in America and Ulster, the Welsh revival, if you look at what happened, they changed society, because what happened was people stopped being as selfish as they were. They stopped being self-serving. They started serving God and serving their fellow men and women, obviously. They started serving their fellow humanity, and everything changed in society. So Christian revival is part of it. What we've got to do, if you're a Christian, we've got to pray. We've got to really pray about what's going on in the country, right? That's one thing. The other thing we've got to do, we've got to stop any infighting. And I'm sick of it. I see it time and time and time again in this movement. I've seen it so much from the beginning, and I just walk away from it. In fact, I normally try and sort it out, and you end up like grabbing a dog by its ears. You get bitten by everybody, you know? So maybe one day I'll learn not to do that. The infighting's got to stop. People have got to come together. They've got to put all the differences aside, and we've got to fight as one unit. We've got to stand together and fight together. And it's difficult getting groups of people together, especially right-wing patriots. It's like herding cats, because everybody has an opinion. Everybody wants to do it their way. But this is the way that we are meant to do it. And I've said this right from the beginning. This is the only way that will save our country, is through political activism. I said back in 2017, we need boots on the ground and boots to the ballot box. And I was parodying. I was tongue-in-cheek parodying what Danny Morrison said, the Armalite in the ballot box. I said, no, we need boots on the ground in the ballot box. In other words, street activists, patriots who are willing to go out, knock doors, talk to people about politics, be evangelists for the political party that we decide to back, and just go for it. Now, again, I know I haven't even looked at the comments yet, but I'm sure there's people. That's not bad. 270 people watching this one. I didn't announce it. It's 20 to 12 at night. I'll be honest with you. Can I be brutally honest with you? Why would I go to Poland? I've got too much to do here. I've got too much to do here, Equalizer. I've got so much work to do. Work to do in trying to save my business, work to do, trying to save my family, work to do, trying to save the country. So I literally don't have time to go on a jolly, you know. And of course, the guys that went there weren't on a jolly. I mean, you know, Tommy's going out there to make films, but I just don't have time. So that's why I didn't go. I was invited, but I just couldn't go. You know, we need an army of patriots that are willing to vote. I mean, all that, you know, we're not asking. This is the thing about this, right? I'm not asking anybody to go into the trenches in the First World War and fight the Battle of the Somme again or Passchendaele. I'm not asking someone to go flying off a landing craft on June the 6th, 1944, and run into a barrage of machine gun fire. I'm not asking anyone to do that. I'm asking people to do 3 or 4 things: register to vote, sign the pledge, join Advance UK, support the Unite the Kingdom movement, and go to church. Is that 5 things? 4 or 5 things? I think it's 5. That's what I'm asking people to do, because we're a Christian country, so we should go to church. We should worship our God. Why would God bless us if we don't worship him? That's the first thing. And again, you know, I'm not going to go into it anyway. But we've got to get active. And some people say, maybe I'm gullible. Maybe I'm gullible and I think I trust too many people and I'm too trusting or whatever. I don't know. But I don't think, and if I am gullible, maybe it's not gullible, maybe it's trusting. I trust people. And maybe that's a weakness of mine, that I shouldn't trust people. I shouldn't be gullible. But I think there's enough good people out, enough people of goodwill in this country to save the country. And that means we've got to be welcoming to people. We've got to bring people in. And do we get burned? Yeah, sometimes we do get burned really badly. And we've had that. But at the same time, we've got to build structures throughout this country that will mobilize people to get out and vote, that will mobilize people to talk to their neighbors about politics, that will mobilize people to get on social media. One of the main things that we need as a movement is, especially for Advance, everybody that agrees with me and is watching these videos, you need to become an evangelist for Advance UK. You need to be sharing Advance UK posts. You need to be sharing Advance UK every time Ben makes a video. Everybody should be sharing it everywhere. That's something all of us can do. I can do it. You can do it. You see a Ben Habib video, share it, and then share it again, and then share it again. Get it on all your platforms. And again, I don't have a massive reach. I'm cancelled by mainstream social media platforms, cancelled by Facebook. Twitter had me sitting in a sandbox until Elon took over. And again, I don't think YouTube, this platform's doing me too many favors. But I'll keep plugging away relentlessly. You know, try and do two videos a day, 2 lives a day, and maybe a pre-recorded video. I'll just keep doing it because I've got a small voice, and well, I've got a very loud voice, but on the internet, I've got a small voice, and you guys can help me with that. You can share my videos. You can tell people, listen, this guy's talking sense. It's so that the thing that's I find really frustrating at the minute is we're in a really good position in terms of the tools that we've got. Like I said, the tools in the box, and we're not taking those tools out of the box. You know, we're trying to fix a gate that's hanging off without getting the electric screwdriver out of the box, without getting any screws out of the box. We're just looking at it going, oh, look, the gate's broken. The gate's broken and we can't fix it. No, we can fix it. It's not going to happen overnight. The Second World War wasn't won overnight. The Cold War took what? 50 years to win. Was it 50 years? 1945 to 1990, however long that is. My maths is rubbish. 45 years, 50 years, whatever it was. It took ages to defeat communism. We still haven't defeated because communism's come back with a vengeance in our own country. While we were sleeping, while we thought we'd won the Cold War, those scumbag communists were infiltrating every area of our government, every area of our civilization, every area of our culture, and poisoning it from within. And I count the Labour Party as part of that. Those Fabian Society people, I count them as part of the treason, part of the treachery against our country. I count the Islamists as traitors against this country. They have an agenda to destroy our country. And what we want to do is preserve that which is good and get rid of that which is bad. There's a lot to get rid of, but we want to preserve our culture. We want to preserve our democracy. We want, you know, and a lot of people disagree with me on this. I don't want to see the BBC closed down. I want to see the BBC saved. I want to see the BBC redeemed and be the impartial, great British broadcaster that it was when I was a kid. And it wasn't. When I was a kid, the BBC was nowhere near as left-wing as it is now. Nowhere near. It was impartial to a certain extent. Yeah, it started in the 80s, I think, by the way I can see it. It started in the 80s. The rot started in the 80s. Well, sometimes the best leaders are ones that are reluctant leaders. Let me just put it that way. If you're hungry for it and you're like, I want to be a leader, if you look at Ben and you listen to what Ben says, Ben has the passion. He has the love for the country, has the love for the people of the country. Whenever you meet Ben Habib, you will notice one thing about Ben. And I think Tommy Robinson's the same. They both have a genuine, sincere love for the people of this country. I think that's a fair thing to say. Now, a lot of people can bluff the way and pretend that they love the people of this country. I'm not that sort of empathetic person, right? I'm not very good at it, and I can't pretend I am when I'm not, right? So I'm not going to pretend I'm something I'm not. I do love the country. I do love the people of the country. I love the people that come in and watch me on my channel, but I'm not very good at sort of. But anyway, doesn't matter about me. The reality is we've got people there that can lead. We've got Ben, we've got Tommy, and there's others that'll step up. Hopefully, and hopefully anybody that's in this for the wrong reason will get found out and thrown out, by the people. If anyone's a wrong and like I say, I've been accused of being gullible before, and maybe that's true. But I'm going to trust God and trust that God will sort out any wrong uns that come into our movement, and He'll remove them. If people are in this movement for the wrong reason, then they need to go, because there's too much at stake. Let's have a look at some of these comments. The infighting is a betrayal. The beef between Danny Tomo and Paul Thorpe Danny Tomo doesn't have an issue with Paul Thorpe. The beef between Danny Tomo and Paul Thorpe needs to be resolved. I don't think Danny and Paul have any beef at all. I don't know anybody that Paul has a needs to resolve. Momus, myself, and Shaw have tried mediating, not what. I don't think there's a problem between Danny Tomo and Paul. I really don't. I think that's maybe it's Danny Roscoe you're thinking of. Don't know. And to me, Paul has never gone at anybody. A lot of people have come at Paul Thorpe. I'll say that now. A lot of people have come at Paul Thorpe totally unjustly. A lot of people have come at me totally unjustly. There's a lot of wrong uns out there. There really are. And they're hiding in plain sight. But the truth of the matter is Paul's a good guy, and he doesn't deserve getting attacked by anyone, to be honest with you. I know the work that he puts in. British Army turn against Starmer. Have a read, guys. I've missed that, guys. Let me know what's happened with Starmer. Well, I don't push my way in anywhere. If people want me to do something, I'll consider it. But I'm not gonna force my way into anything. The college is Ben's project. It's a good idea. It's a good way of keeping the party accountable. I just want the party to work. So I'm not interested in having any rank. And I don't think you can. If you're in the college, it doesn't mean that you can lord it over people out in the college. It's not like that. It's not set up like that. It's an accountability mechanism and a policy making mechanism. Come on, Rich. A good heart goes a long way. Well, there's also that song by Fergal Sharkey. A good heart is hard to find, and the Bible says that the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? And that's apart from Jesus, that's all our hearts. But there's a little bit of the Bible prophecy. Yes, absolutely. We absolutely need to pray. We absolutely need to pray. Pray without ceasing. That's what the Bible teaches us. And I think that's very good advice. I think prayer is the most important thing we can do. To be brutally honest with you, Spooky Spoon. What sort of a name is Spooky Spoon? How am I meant to try and be serious when there's names like Spooky Spoon popping up on the thing? But you're absolutely right, Spooky Spoon. Bible prophecy has been fulfilled. All we can do is pray. Mate, I'm sorry. I'm gonna push back on that, mate. The country is not gone, and God is here. God's everywhere all the time, so don't you worry about that. If you don't want to be involved, don't be involved. But we're going to fight on. Believe you me, we're not going to give up. We're not going to give up on this. We're not going to give up on this. What have we got? What's this one? People left the church. The church was found to be deficient. We don't have to go to church to have a relationship. No, that you're right, Kim. You don't. But I think it's important people go to church. Find a good church and go to it, because it's good to be in fellowship with other Christians. We have a meeting every Sunday night on this channel, right? And you know, we'll keep doing that. I'll keep doing that, and because I know people are getting a real blessing from that. So I'll be there every Sunday night again, as long as God wants me to do it, and as long as I have strength, we will keep fighting on. We'll keep fighting on. Let's have a look at this. Should I share political stuff through business platforms? Listen, what I don't want you to do, Galvatron, is lose your job. I lost a 50 grand a year job for doing this. I've set up a business then. The business has been severely damaged for doing this. So just be careful. I think politically, if you talk about things like LinkedIn, I wouldn't. I've never shared any of my activism on LinkedIn. I'm sure plenty of people know what I do, but I don't talk about it in business. I really don't. I talk about it to my friends, to my family, to people that I'm associating with. But when it comes to business, I try and keep it separate, because, you know, the business, a lot of the people that I work with, unfortunately, are very left wing, and a lot of them have cancelled me because they know what I do and they know my views. So yeah, I would. That's some good advice. I was banned on LinkedIn for warning people about the injections. Yeah, just be careful. I wouldn't do it. If your business relies on some of those platforms, I wouldn't. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Janice. Really, really appreciate it. There you go, Galvatron. A lot of good advice coming in there. Keep it separate. What we need to do is we need to share Advance everywhere on every social media platform. Email your friends. If you've got an emailing list and it's not business related, obviously, and you can do it without annoying your business people, email your friends. Do you know what, Robert? We don't have to worry about them, because here's the thing. See if we achieve what we're trying to achieve. Let me give you an example, right? This is a total hypothetical, but it's not impossible, and I'll tell you why it's not impossible. I think soon people are going to realize there's an old phrase that one of my bosses used to use years ago. And he said about people that were flash, they're all fur coat and no knickers. We all know that saying, right? That's what reform is. I know it's a bit of a coarse saying, but it's very true. There's no substance to them. And people are going to suss that out soon. I think Farage is looking pressured in a way because he doesn't really know what to do. Whereas Ben and Advance, they are building a party and an ideology from the ground up. It's all been tested. It's all been stress tested. And again, obviously, I know the people that work in the background on policy. Very good people. Very good people. And I don't think we have to worry about our enemies. We don't have to worry about the fact that there's a lot of these Islamist MPs. But what we have to do is do something, Robert. Do you know what I mean, mate? We have to do something. We have to get active, and we have to take a stand. And the stand is costly. I said this the other day when the first speech I ever made in London when was it? 2017. And I went to the airport after I'd made that speech, got to the airport about 7 o'clock in the evening, Gatwick Airport. I was really tired. And I just realized my life had changed forever. And life was easy before I started doing this. So once you put your head above the parapet, believe you me, you take a lot of fire, and some of it friendly, unfortunately. Labour are the Antichrist, and it's good and evil fighting a soul battle. Labour sold their souls, no hope for them now. The devil have them all. Well, I think you're certainly right about that when you think about some of the policies. Think about that late-term abortion. Aborting babies just before they're born. It's basically murder. It's just killing babies. Sorry, that's what it is. Murdering granny. You know, the so-called assisted dying bill. This stuff's disgusting. This stuff is absolutely vile and disgusting. Too many personalities want to lead. Jesus leads by serve family, community. Absolutely bang on. Faith beyond fear. Love that comment. That is an absolutely fantastic comment. New member, Patriot Dan, thanks for that, brother. Really, really appreciate you. By the way, guys, you can become a member of the channel. I do when I do videos, I put them out to the members first. You know, the sort of the videos and do sort of piece to camera stuff. So thanks for that, Patriot Dan. Very, very much appreciated. The afterlife is real. I've seen it myself. Oh, you better believe it's real. It's more real than this. I'll tell you that. We can never trust the BBC for factual news. I agree with that 100%. While certain people run it. Yeah, I agree with all that, Bess. I think what we need to do, we need to see the BBC completely reformed. All the head shed sacked, new people come in. And this needs to happen right the way throughout the whole of the establishment, media, the newspapers. And there's so many wrong uns there. I was watching Piers Morgan today. I don't like Piers Morgan. Sorry, I know I should love my enemies and all. I don't hate him, but I don't like him. I think he's sleazy. He blows with the wind. He changes his mind. He's fickle. You know, I just don't like him, right? And he, you know, he was doing this interview with who was it? The Djokovic, wasn't it? The tennis star. And he was just groveling around him because he'd been so rude about him when the crazy stuff was happening during COVID. Anyway, Paul was talking about Tomo the other night. He's nothing. Yeah, no, Paul's no problem with Danny Tomo, so I don't know what that's about. So listen, don't say stuff that's not accurate, because that's what starts trouble. Mickey, what about you, mate? How are you, man? You should have been the first one on the college sheet. Well, look, like I say, I don't push in anywhere. People want me to do something, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have a lot of time to do anything extra. See, I'm probably doing 2 videos a day at least. I'm recording videos. Some of them I never put out because you look back at them and you go, "Oh, that's not fit for purpose." I'm trying to clip other videos. What I'm doing at the minute takes a massive amount of time. It's like a full-time job. And then I'm trying to do the business, and that's why I didn't go to Poland. I just don't have the time. You know what I mean? Let's have a look. If Starmer goes, absolutely. If Starmer goes, he'll only be replaced by another puppet. What we need to get Advance UK into Parliament with hundreds of seats at the next election. That's the only thing that will save our country, because Reform ain't going to do it. And I love my friends in Reform, you know, some really good people. And if I'm wrong and they're right, I'll put my hands up. And I think what Ben is, if you read between the lines, and Ben said this publicly, what Ben has said is if he has said, what's he said? How's he said it? And this isn't any insider knowledge. This is just from looking at what Ben has said on the interviews he's done on my interviews. He said he's not going to allow there to be a split in the vote. He's not going to allow that, whatever that means. That means, I guess, if you're in a situation where Advance are on 30% of the vote, and probably no, not 30%. So let's say Advance are on 20% of the vote, and Reform are on 30% of the vote. There's going to have to be some horse trading there, isn't it? You know, so I think that's just real politics. That's what would happen. Now, I think, and I think Ben thinks, a lot of people in Advance think that Reform will cave in before the next election, because they will not have the depth of policy that Advance will have. And when people see what Advance have got, Advance will storm through. And I want to see a massive, whatever party wins the next election on the right, whether it's Advance or Reform, or Advance, Reform, Restore together, or whatever it is, whatever it looks like, we don't know what it's going to look like. I would love to see the right win 500 seats or something crazy, right? Just have a massive majority. Or how many? What was it? 630 seats? Is it 630? I don't know. However many it is, win 90% of the seats and just dominate politics for the next 20 years, so we can sort this absolute nightmare that's been created in the UK out. Because if we don't sort it out, what our friend Robert that was saying earlier on, and I'm not dismissing your comments, Robert, because everybody has a right to have those opinions. And I understand why you think like that. Because when I look at what's happening in England, I look at what's just happened in Birmingham, and look at these absolute scumbags they have no respect for us. They have no respect for our culture. They are here to invade. They are here to take over. And that worries me sick. But unless we get a good government that's willing to deport them, and I mean deport a lot of them, If you're an Islamist and you want to take over our country, you do not deserve to be here. If you're a moderate Muslim that's come here, you're working hard, you're raising your family, you don't want Sharia law, you want to fit in with us, you want to be assimilated and accommodate and accommodate our culture, and become part of our culture, then there's no problem. But if you're one of these scumbags that wants to take over, like that idiot, but talking about his curry, we're not here to take part, we're here to take over. If you're like that, I want you gone out of my country. And I believe the only party that'll do that is Advance. Now, Nick Tinconi with UKIP, yes, they're talking a good fight. They ain't gonna get the members. They're not gonna get the membership. They're not going to look. I know the internal structure of that party. They're not going to win the next general election. Sorry, if you're a UKIP fan. If Reform in the next general election and they don't change radically, they're not going to make the change that's necessary to save the country. So the stakes couldn't be higher. That's why I'm sitting here. It's past 12 o'clock and I'm still ranting on. I'm going to finish on this. Just want to jump on. It's like half an hour, whatever I've done. Not even half an hour. Yeah, it's half an hour. I just want to say this before I go. We do have the tools in the box. So sign the pledge. Let me see if I can get the little backing up so we can have a look at what this is all about. Is that it? There we go. Let's see if that's why doesn't that appear? Let's have a look. There we go. Okay, so this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. A mass silent prayer to the Lord Jesus Christ. God will take away the evil on this planet. Listen, I agree with that 100%. Oh, yes. No Palestine flags on City Hall. I hope that's right, Jerry. I think there's a big event in Belfast on the 29th. I think we're all going to go to it. We're all going to go there. And I think that's going to be a big statement, just taking a stand at City Hall and saying, look, so this is how simple it is. Join Advance UK, join the pledge. These are things. If I could advise everybody watching this, whether you're watching it live now, whether you're watching it back later on, if I could advise you to do certain things that will save the country, the first one is register to vote. Okay, so that you can take part in the democratic process. If you're not registered to vote, you don't have any say in an election. It's kind of pointless. Okay, get your family to register to vote. Get your friends to register to vote. The next one is join Advance UK. Become a member of Advance UK and start promoting them on social media. Start sharing their stuff on social media. I need to do that more, actually. Start sharing Advance stuff more than sharing cat videos or, videos moaning about Islam or whatever. That's what I need to do. I need to do more evangelism for Advance. Join Advance, start promoting Advance, get around the doors with leaflets, start gossiping about Advance to people, telling people about Advance. So you register to vote, you've joined Advance, sign the pledge. Takes 20 seconds. All you got to do, go on there, email address, half your postcode. We don't want your full postcode, half your postcode, and boom, Bob's your uncle. You've signed the pledge, and that means that you've signed up to the ideology. And again, the ideology is there to call parties to account. So there's lots of counterbalances coming in to make sure that we don't have the crazy stuff that we've had for the past 40, 50, 60 years. So where are we at? So we've said register to vote, join Advance, sign the pledge, rediscover Christianity, and pray. Pray. There's a Bible verse that says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, pray for peace in our land, pray for prosperity. We need to repent of all the things that we've done wrong, individually and corporately. We've all done it. I've done plenty wrong. And then get involved in the United Kingdom movement. Get involved in following Tommy. Get involved in watching his videos. Get involved in going to the demos. Get involved in going to demos in your local area. And what happens is gradually you'll get so enveloped in the you get so enveloped by the movement that it's what you live and breathe 24 hours a day, because you know that if we do this right, we can save the country. So let's recap on that. Register to vote, join Advance, sign the pledge, start looking at Christianity, get involved in the UK, what is it? Unite the Kingdom, UTK, Unite the Kingdom movement, and again, start organizing at grassroots level, going out doing work and stuff in the community. Again, talking about Christianity, talking about the movement, talking about the problems, and giving people solutions. We're going to have a look at a few more comments, and then I'm going to go, because I know there's certain people say you stay on too long, Richard. You don't go when you should be going. Richard, you're Ben's way into Northern Ireland, and Ben knows it. He is depending on you. He's depending on you. I know this. Angela, thanks very much for that. You're not the first person to say that, and I do appreciate that. That's very kind of you saying that. I'll do what I can do over here, and I can only do what people want me to do. If people don't want me doing stuff, then I'm not going to do it. But I will always promote Advance UK as much as I can. Thing Sting song came into my head. Glasgow tonight. Oh yeah, Illegal Alien, yeah. Sting song, yeah. Another one. Man After My Own Heart. Not sure what that one's about, Mickey, but God is here and He's on the move. Do not fear. I agree with that 100%. 100%. But Ian, you're right. You're right, brother. You're right. It is. I've got a great one. You say I'm lucky. I've got Shiloh Christian Fellowship and a really good pastor, and I'm okay on that level. I was going to pop into a local church, and Jesus told me not to. Okay. Well, look, I think you need to pray about. I think you're right saying you need to pray about what church you go to. I think that's another thing. John Capone, hi again. Paul would absolutely love that. Yes, Bess. The message on the posters, banners, project the message of the movement, spread the word. Absolutely. Mickey, do you believe in the rule of law and order at first? I'm not sure what you're saying there, mate, to be honest with you. Yeah, of course I believe in the rule of law. People, police support. Yes, that's another one. The farmers need to be supported as well. And I think these are all things that Advance can do. Guys, just want to try and focus everybody's brains. Register to vote, join Advance, sign the pledge. What was the other one? Go to church or rediscover your faith, join the United Kingdom movement and start going to demos. That's it. We do that. And yeah, that's it. Okay, guys, I'm going to go now. Thanks everybody for coming on. And at what time is it? 12:10. I've got to get up at 7 and do that live stream in the morning. Oh, guys. Anyway, Farage can talk the walk, but he can't walk the walk. Disgusting evil. Pledge.org.uk. Right, guys, I'm going to go. Thanks everyone for tuning in. But you know what I'm saying. You know what we've got to do. Let's just do it. Let's just take the bull by the horns and get it done, guys. Yeah. See you soon.